Hello people of the future and welcome to Let's Make a Trading Card Game. I have finally finished the basic set of cards and it's huge, look at this. It's 200 Arsenal cards plus 14 Galaxy cards. So out of the Galaxy cards there are the 10 planets, and there's Asteroid Field, Nebula, Void, which is just clear blank space, and Wormhole. Now first of all let me explain you why there are 200 cards. I wanted to make all the uncommon cards twice as rare as the commons, and the rares twice as rare as the uncommons. So if in a booster pack there are 10 commons, 3 uncommons and 1 rare, and 1 galaxy card, so if we have, for example, 100 commons, we get 10 commons every pack out of 100, so the probability of getting one specific common card is 1 in 10. If the uncommons are twice as rare, then the probability needs to be 1 in 20. So that means, it's 3 out of 60. And for the rares it's 1 in 40 here, and you get 1 rare, so there has to be 40 rares. So if you add up 100 commons, 60 uncommons and 40 rares, you get 200 cards. Now there are 10 basic strategies, 4 monocolored strategies and 6 two-color strategies in this set. So that means that 200 divided by 10, there are 20 cards per strategy. And if we break them down by rarity, that leaves us with 10 commons, 6 uncommons, and 4 rares. This doesn't happen, unfortunately, because we have colorless cards that can be played in any strategy. Where is my cursor? Okay. See, these ones here. And also, if your starting planet produces a resource of 2 colors, then you have access to more cards. So to balance things out a bit, I made the cards that are played in the monocolored strategies harder to play if you have a planet that gives you 2 resources. Basically, I added more colored symbols to their cost. For example, this warship costs 2 red resource and 1 of any color. So this means that if you have a desert planet that gives you red and yellow resource each turn, and you want to play a card that costs 1 red on your first turn and a card that costs 2 red and 1 colorless, for example, on your second turn, you can play the first card fine, but the second card you can't play because you have only 1 red resource and you need 2 to play this card. And that makes it more difficult to play color-intensive cards in your 2-color deck. And this prevents the 2-color decks to play the best cards of both colors. Now, in previous test sessions I've learned that you need around 40% creatures in your deck, 30% ships, 20% can be actions, and 10% can be buildings. This, of course, is very open to interpretation because, for example, the green color has little to no ships and they don't use them. They have other ways of moving throughout the galaxy. Plus now I've changed the boarding ability, and this 40% may be even closer to 50%. Boarding used to be first a ship ability, then a creature ability, and now it's something completely different. Now you can move a creature from your structure to another person's structure if the structures are on the same space, and the creatures that are inside of a ship, let's say, they can battle each other. So it's basically boarding that ship, except that there is no keyword and any creature can do it, and if your opponent doesn't have creatures in his structure, then you capture that structure and can move it around if it's a ship. And I'm thinking that this will lead to some very interesting gameplay. This will have to be tested in my next test session, which will be a draft. So to make a set draftable, you need to allow many strategies in your set. So I have 10 strategies, 4 monocolor and 6 two-color. And each strategy comes with its own race of creatures. The mono-red strategy is really straightforward. They play fast creatures, fast ships. The creatures sometimes enhance the ships. They deal direct damage and try to win the game as fast as possible. They just go straight for the kill. Red's problem is that they don't have their end game planned out. They try to win as fast as possible and they don't have a plan B. Their main race in this set is something like Minotaur people. The mono-blue strategy, on the other hand, draws cards, plays defensive in the early game, uses evasive maneuvers, tries to control the board, explores the galaxy using ships, and basically they play defensively until they have enough resources to play all of the cards that they have in their hand and win the game in the late game. Blue's problem is mainly having weak creatures, weaker than the other colors. Blue's main race is based off of squids. The green strategy is focused on growth on many levels. Their creatures grow, they like gaining resource, they expand their domain, their creatures heal and regenerate, they have really powerful creatures, and they're good at destroying structures. Their main problem is that the mono-green strategy is very unwieldy. They don't have many ships. They try to compensate using other means of moving creatures from one place to another, but it's wonky. And green decks are usually more vulnerable at the beginning of the game. Green's main race are sort of plant monsters. The mono-yellow strategy, on the other hand, has a little bit of everything. They have pretty good creatures, pretty good ships and buildings and actions. They really have a lot of options in terms of what they can do. They can be okay in the early game and in the late game, so that's the definition of mid-range. Yellow's main race is based on rats, and I'm thinking also they can have more insect-like creatures. And then there are the 6 two-color strategies, which aren't as well defined, they aren't as straightforward, they can do more things. Red-blue, for example, they use robots, they interact with the galaxy, and what else? They use ranged ships to attack their opponent. Their main race is robots. The red-green strategy is about amassing resource faster than your opponent and playing huge destructive creatures. Their main race is based off rock golems. Red-yellow decks, they have strong creatures, they use the boarding strategy, but also they have fast evasive creatures that they prevent their opponent from attacking and generally disrupt what their opponent is doing. Their main race is based on lizards. Blue-green is focused on exploration and expansion, on manipulation of the galaxy. They have all sorts of weird and crazy actions that they can use. And they're mainly focused on combos. Their main race as of now is still undefined. I don't know, maybe some sort of plant creature or an amphibious creature of some sort. I don't know, a frog person. The green-yellow strategy also has combo elements. They use boarding strategies, they create massive amounts of resource and play creatures and buildings, and usually creatures inside of buildings that have some sort of effect on the game. In fact, green and yellow is about building a society and cities and a big empire. Now, once I have figured all of this out, I started creating cards, and it took a long time, but finally I have everything figured out, and everything should be balanced, but I can't tell for sure because I haven't tested the game, and there are so many different interactions that you can't really tell before testing if everything is balanced or not. So I created these 4 monocolored decks and sent them out to you guys, to the subscribers. So many people applied for these decks. I'm really quite pleased by the turnout. Hopefully I'll get good feedback from your testing. If you haven't got your deck yet, you can still apply for it. If you're a subscriber, send a message to me here on YouTube, or actually no, you can write me an email. I'll put my email address right here on my face. Just write me an email directly asking for a deck of whatever color you want, and I'll send it to you, along with the rules. You still have around 2 weeks to ask for these decks. So lately I've started to create creature designs for the 10 races, and from now on you'll see me draw a lot more because I don't have to worry as much about creating cards. I don't have to work on cards in the immediate future. So that's about everything I can show to you right now. I'll have a lot more to talk about after we do this draft session. So I'll see you guys soon, and until then, keep it up.